migrant advocacy group says that Governor Reynolds, however, has it all wrong.
Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice, or Iowa MMJ, is glad Title 42 is ending, but it doesn't believe the new policies are the right policies. Iowa MMJ is an advocacy group that provides legal services and works to give a voice to migrants and refugees. Earlier today, I sat down with one of its leaders about the changes happening at the border. Jody, we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today. Now that Title 42 has expired, what is your organization hearing as far as reaction to all of this, the changes? Are migrants even aware of what's happening?
I mean, obviously the expiration just happened fewer than 24 hours ago last night. So I think it's still remains to be seen, right? What's going to happen. Different day, different policy, but at the end, it's all about enforcement. And we don't think that anything good is going to happen with any other policies that have recently come out from the Biden administration. Yeah,
let's talk about that a little bit. First of all, tell me what you didn't like about Title 42, but also the fact that your organization does take issue with the new policies that are being put into place by the Biden administration as well.
Well, Title 42, as you probably know, started under the Trump administration and it was put into effect under the guise of preventing the spread of COVID. And the thought was that, well, we've got to, countries have COVID, we've got to stop the spread of COVID. But it was basically only implemented at the southern border. And in the past 3 years, while Title 42 was in effect under this guise of preventing the spread of COVID, about 2 million people were expelled from the U.S. and were not allowed to pursue an asylum claim. The right to seek asylum in the United States is protected under our own federal immigration law as well as international law. And so we believe, again, that as immigration advocates, that Title 42 is violating people's rights to seek asylum in the United States. They did not have a way to pursue an asylum claim when they were expelled under Title 42. Now that Title 42 is ending, the Biden administration has put in several other enforcement measures. There's quite a list. But again, they all focus on enforcement. That's the quick takeaway. Without that help, they would be left in the streets. So
is that what you say then? Is that what you say then, Jody? Is that the issue is we shouldn't be focusing on enforcement, rather working on providing resources to migrants? What is the answer here for what's happening at the border?
Well, as long as we do not address the root causes of migration and what is causing people to come, whether it's conflict, whether it's civil conflict, whether it's cartel violence, if it's climate change, we are not addressing any of those issues. So as long as we continue to not address the root causes of migration, people will continue to migrate. People have migrated since the beginning of time. And so it's just going to continue to cycle through. We will continue to block people from seeking asylum. People will continue to try and seek asylum, and we're not going to get anywhere with it.
And what is something you would want our viewers to know about migrants? Because so often I think it's easy for people to forget that these migrants are human beings. These are people with feelings, with families. What would you want our viewers to know about the people that are crossing the border?
Yeah, good question. I mean, we're all human and we all want just the ability to be able to survive and provide for our families, correct? First and foremost. I'm not sure why people are always so offended that people want to seek safety in the United States. We have a history of welcoming immigrants in this country, and that hasn't changed. And we could learn to be a welcoming community that helps people and protects them from having to go back to countries where they have suffered persecution or where they fear they would face persecution if they were sent back.
Well, your work certainly does at least provide a voice. We do appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. Jody Mashek with Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice. Jody, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice job, James. Boy, that is such a difficult issue. No matter what side you look at it from, it's a challenge either way.
It really is. And then one thing that you have to think about that Jody mentioned, when you see parents with children in a suitcase, a baby in a suitcase, and they've already, a lot of them have traveled so far to get to that point. They're doing that for a reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're leaving something that's very bad.
I just know that I wouldn't want to be the one on the border, to tell them they can't come in.
It's a big issue.